Good morning, grade 11s. Today we are going to continue with our lesson on subroutines, specifically functions without parameters. So we're going to ease into functions today. Very similar to procedures with some very distinct differences though. The first difference is, and I'm going to highlight this because it's very important, that a function has one result of a specific data type. So it always returns a value when it is called. The second one, and it's very important to remember, is that a function is always called as part of another statement, whether that is into a variable or into a property of a component. So it cannot stand on its own as a procedure would. So the examples that they give in the textbook is, for example, pi is a function that returns a very specific value, the value of pi, and that is of a real data type. Random would also produce a number of real data type. It's a number between 0 and 1. Then we, again, just as we had with procedures, for example, richEdit.lines.add, that .add would be a procedure of a component. So there are functions. For example, read out get text len will produce the number of characters that are in the rich edit. We have an instant size, which will return the size of the object in bytes, and so on and so on. So in the example that they give in the textbook, we have a program that is supposed to create a code, a lucky code for specific people. So in this case, after I press generate, I would write a function that returns a string result or string value of a specific lucky code, and I will call that 3 times after I press the generate button. So the code for this generate button is given over here. So we're receiving the input, and then we call the lucky code function, and you can see that it is called just as we would call a procedure, but this time it has to be the result of this function needs to be stored in a variable called secret. Then it's simply displayed, it's called again, displayed, called again, displayed. So in terms of declaration of this function, it will look as follows. So the key word here is function. Then we have the function name, a descriptive name of the function. And then we have a colon and the data type of the result of this function. And then we can write our function as follows. So we can press again after declaring it Control-Shift-C, and the framework of this function will be written for you. We have a local variable called scode, and scode would be into string random 90. So this will return a number between 0 and 89, plus 10 would mean that I have a number between 10 and 99, plus a random number between 0 and 25, plus 65, because this is now converted into an ASCII character. And our capital letters no, this is actually not a capital letter. This is it is a capital letter, that's right. So our capital letters start at 65 and upwards. So whatever, because there's 26 letters in the alphabet, I add 65 and convert it to ASCII, so it will add a capital letter between A and Z to it. And then, very important, this is now the result. So although, and I'm going to highlight this, we can return the result, which is S code, into the function name, more common is actually to use the keyword result S code. So I highly recommend that you, from the beginning, from the start, use the keyword result S code. So instead of create lucky code, you will write result, because it makes very much logical sense if to use result with a function that we are writing. Okay, so you can read through these notes, but I've actually mentioned most of that already. And today, as I said, I would like you to do activity 4. Start with the first one. It analyzes the ID number, and activity 2, 4.2, is expanding on this one, and it actually validates ID number. So there's an algorithm that is displayed in this activity, and I would like you to have a crack at it. It's not the easiest, but try it out and ask me questions if you get stuck. But yes, it's a very nice question that could be asked in a exam or test as well.